Today I want to talk about something that comes up all the time in business, especially for women, and that is the stories we tell ourselves about what we're good at, and more importantly, what we're not. And I had the most perfect example of this at Go Get a Day in Brisbane recently. Now, if you've ever been in a room at a Go Get a Day, you'll know it's a working day. People are not sitting there passively listening. They are building, putting together marketing strategies, sending emails, doing outreach, doing all the things that actually move their business forward. And on this particular day, while everyone else was working on their business, I was, as usual, doing 15-minute coaching sessions. Quick, focused, no fluff. And one woman sat down in front of me and opened with this sentence: "I'm not very good at sales." Now, I hear this a lot. It is not unusual. But I have learned not to take statements like that at face value. So I asked her a question that I think more of us need to be asking ourselves. My question was, "What's your evidence?" And she paused and she thought about it. And she said, "Well, I've had one sales call so far." And I said, "Great, tell me about the sales call." So she told me about the sales call. She said that the call turned into a proposal, and that proposal turned into a sale. So let's just pause there for a second. One call, one proposal, one sale. That is a 100% conversion rate. And yet her belief was, "I'm not very good at sales." And I remember just sitting there thinking, this is it. This is exactly what we do. We ignore the evidence and we default to the story. And this is what I see happen all the time. We take a very small amount of data, sometimes no data at all, and we turn it into an identity. I'm not good at sales. I'm not confident. I'm not ready. And the problem with that is, once it becomes identity, it feels fixed. It feels like something we can't change. But when we slow down and look at the evidence, most of the time, it's actually not an identity problem. It's a volume problem. In this case, she didn't have a sales issue. She had a sample size issue. One call is not enough to decide whether you're good or bad at something. I want 100. But what she did have was proof. Proof that she could sit in a conversation. Proof that she could articulate her value. Proof that someone was willing to say yes. Yeah. And that's where the shift needs to happen. I see this play out in many different ways. I was speaking to another client recently who said, "I'm terrible at putting myself out there." And I asked her the same question. "What's your evidence?" I'm like a freaking broken record. Anyway, she said, "I posted on LinkedIn last week and it didn't really do much." One post. One. And from that, she had created a whole identity around not being good at visibility. So we are so quick to decide who we are based on such limited information. And I get it, because it feels vulnerable, putting yourself out there, making offers, having sales conversations. It all requires courage. And sometimes it feels easier to just decide, that's not my thing. But that decision comes at a cost, especially for business owners, because it keeps us stuck. So let's go back to the woman at Go Get a Day. Her belief was, "I'm not good at sales." But the evidence said, "I've had one go at this and it worked." They are two completely different narratives. One shuts things down, the other opens up all the things. And this is where mindset matters. And it's not the fluffy BS, think positive, blah, blah, blah kind of mindset. It's a practical, grounded way. What is actually true here? Not what feels true, not what you might be scared to be true, but what can you point to as evidence? Because when you anchor yourself in evidence, you make far better decisions. So I want to give you 3 really practical things that you can take away from this. 1, ask yourself, what's the actual evidence? The next time you catch yourself saying something like, "I'm not good at sales" or "I'm not confident," just pause and ask yourself, what's my evidence? You might find there's very little there. Or you might find, like this woman, that the evidence actually tells a very different story. Number 2, we have to separate identity from behavior. "I'm not good at sales" is identity. "I haven't done many sales calls yet" is behavior. One is fixed, the other is changeable. If it's a behavior issue, we can work with it. We can increase volume, we can build skill, we can get better, but if you keep it as your identity, you won't even try. And number 3, increase your sample size. This is a really big one. Most people are making decisions off 1, 2, maybe 3 attempts. It's nowhere near enough. Tough love, Emma McQueen. You've got to speak to like 100. And if you want to get good at sales, you need to have more conversations. If you want to get comfortable with visibility, you need to do more posts. If you want results in your business, you need to do more reps. This is why I'm so big on consistent business development. Those daily actions, the reach outs, the follow-ups, the conversations, that's where the evidence gets built. And once the evidence builds, confidence follows. Not the other way around. You sometimes just have to suck it up and do it. So if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's me. I've been telling myself I'm not good at sales. Come on, pick yourself up. Let's go. I want to challenge you on that. Look at the evidence. And if there isn't much there yet, don't use that as a reason to stop. Use it as a reason to do more, because you might be a lot better at this than you even give yourself credit for. And if you're someone who wants to build that evidence faster in a room full of women who are actually doing the work, having the conversations, moving their businesses forward, come and play with us. Go get a day. Come and play with us. We've got another one coming up in Brisbane in August, one in Melbourne in June. Wow. It's one of those days where things actually happen. Not just ideas, not just notes, real momentum. And if you're ready for more personalized support, more of those direct conversations where we look at your business and go, okay, what's actually going on here? That's exactly the work I do with my one-on-one clients. And I love it. But for now, start here. Check your story, look at your evidence, and then keep going. Thanks for being here. If you love this episode, send it on to someone who needs it. Yeah.